Here we go again. Here we go again. Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and let's get right into this story. We just did a story not too long ago about a Jamaican landlord that lives in the US who killed everybody in the house, including his two tenants downstairs and his girlfriend upstairs before turning himself into the police. This happened in New York. There's something about New York that's going on Jamaicans that I don't know what, because here comes another story. And the headline for this story says, 4 stabbed to death, including a girl that is 11 years old and a boy that was 12 years old by a relative. And the relative was fatally shot by NYPD cops outside a burning Queens, New York home. I saw the story broke yesterday, and I didn't think it had anything to do with Jamaicans. I just thought typical news in the United States of America. I mean, the US is huge. 50 states, right? And there's always something going on all over the place. So I didn't pay much attention to it until this morning when I realized that it is actually attached to Jamaica. So check it out. From the US, according to Daily News, written by Rebecca White, this is what went down. It says a crazed attacker fatally stabbed 4 relatives, including an 11-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy, and then they wounded 2 NYPD police officers before they shot him to death outside of his family's burning Queens home Sunday morning, according to the police. Cops raced to the home the home was located on Beach 22nd Street near Elk Drive in Far Rockaway, Queens, about 5:10 a.m. early morning, after a young girl calls 911 to say that her cousin was killing her family members. My cousin in here killing the whole family. Could y'all hurry up, please? My cousin in here killing the whole family. Could y'all hurry up, please? NYPD Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry said the cousin was identified by the police as Courtney Gordon. Courtney Gordon is 38 years old, and Courtney Gordon had just moved into the home alongside his family here so here's what happened, right? 38-year-old Courtney Gordon, he moved into the home weeks earlier, because he himself was facing homelessness after he had separated from his wife. I guess him and his wife broke up, and he was the one that had to leave the home. And I'm also hearing that he has some mental issues, or he was breaking down mentally. So he was separated from his wife, and his distraught sister told the Daily News, I guess they took him in, gave him a place to stay. You see, sometimes it's not even, say, family is not the same anymore. You know, like in Jamaica, you could go to your family yard, and if you don't have nowhere to stay, you could catch in a corner, sleep on a couch, sleep on a bed with somebody, sleep on the floor even, and you'll still be treated as family, and you're welcomed in. In the United States of America, when we get over here, things are different. We just had a talk about that earlier. You have to call before you come. Ain't nobody trying to put you up in their house if you're going homeless. Even your close family members that used to be cool with you growing up in Jamaica or in the Caribbean, you get here overseas, nobody ain't trying to put you up in their house. We don't know your mind state. Some family members are jealous. Some family members are going through mental issues. Some of them will kill you in your sleep. You let some of them in your house. They want to sleep with your spouse. They want to steal the things that you have in your house. They want to talk bad about what goes on in your house to people out in the streets. They want to molest off your children. Like, there's so many things. They want to mooch off of everything that you provide and not contribute. If you ask them to take over the light bill, since them have a little job and it's paying a little bit of money, but they're not making a whole heap of money enough to go pay rent fully on their own, take over the light bill for the house. Then since you stay here and you have a bed in here, big problems start. You know what I mean? You're my cousin from when? God know, you're going to charge me for food and you're going to charge me for light bill. I'm saying you have to be careful who you file for, bring come foreign. You have to be careful who file for you and bring you come foreign, because they might have ulterior motives and plans for you. And you definitely have to be careful when letting family members stay in your house when they're going through their own hardships. I know it sounds bad, but it's a big warning. They went on to say that the scene was chaotic. This is Patrick Henry, president of the Police Benevolent Association, the New York NYPD's largest union. They were on the scene. He said the scene was chaotic. Multiple victims, the house burning, it's on fire, and a madman that was on a rampage. Just so much going on in this picture that we had to contain. When two uniformed cops arrived at the home, tucked behind a long driveway, they saw a man that was carrying luggage as he walked out. The man stabbed up everybody in the house, set the house on fire, and grabbed his luggage and is walking out. So it's like, erase this scene and walking into my new life. The police officers engaged him in basically a casual conversation. Hey, come here. Did you hear anything, about what's going on around here? That's how they approached him, right? Within 10 seconds, they said, the man nodded and pulled out a steak kitchen knife, and he immediately attacked both officers. Video of the incident viewed by a police source showed Gordon looking a little off, like he wasn't in his right mind while attacking. Now remember, these police officers also have body cam. They just have not released the body cam footage as yet to the public. But the videos, they are saying, shows him looking a little off. It's typical if the police comes and sees the house on fire and you dragging a suitcase away from the burning house. After a phone call that says, my cousin is in here killing the whole family, they're going to say, hey, can we talk to you for a minute? Do you know what's going on over here inside this house? And as they approached him to say that, he pulls out a knife and starts swinging. Video of the incident is viewed on a police source, shows that he was looking a little off. He just had a crazy look about him, one source said. He just went right after them. Now, no person in their right mind is going to draw a steak knife and jump at armed police officers responding to a call. He stabbed one of the cops in the neck and in the chest area, and the other one, he stabbed him in the head before one of them, a 28-year NYPD veteran, identified by a source as Edmund Desio, opened fire and fatally shot him. So obviously, their first intention was not to harm him or kill him. They're probably trying to figure out what's going on here. And if he looks like just a deranged person who was close in the area, you don't want to kill somebody who didn't have anything to do with this. Plus, we need more answers. So they were obviously wrestling with him, and he got the better of them, stabbed one police officer in the neck and in the head, and stabbed another police officer as well, before one of them pulled a gun and shot him to death. Now, both officers were released from the Jamaica hospital on Sunday evening, so obviously their wounds were not life-threatening, although one was seriously injured. A couple of millimeters one way or the other, it would have been a problem, a police source said of this veteran officer's injuries. A couple of millimeters one way or the other, it would have been lights out for him. Cops found an 11-year-old girl stabbed in front of the house. She died at the Cohen Children's Medical Center. Gordon lit a living room couch on fire as he left, so the police couldn't get into the residence until the firefighters extinguished the blaze, because the couch had gone fully ablaze, caught the house on fire fully, and the police, of course, could not just walk in. Now, once inside, they reported that they found 3 more dead bodies in 2 back bedrooms, a 12-year-old boy and a 44-year-old woman, and a man said to be in his 30s. NYPD Chief of Detective Joseph Kenny said. Another victim, whom Gordon's sister identified as their 61-year-old aunt, Christine Watson, she was also stabbed multiple times, and she was in critical condition at Mount Sinai Queens Hospital in dealing with her wounds. His sister said, "My aunt took him in. He didn't have nowhere to stay. He broke up with his wife. They're going through issues. And my aunt took him in because she felt sorry for him, because he's telling her that he's trying to get his life together," said the sibling, who asked not to be named. "I wanted to tell her, Auntie, this is bigger than us. Let him go back to the shelter. But no one was listening to me." Wow. So I don't know if he was on drugs and that's why his wife left him. And that's why, because some of us, I've seen it before, I've seen people from the Caribbean, tight family unit, come to the US and one of them just lose it. Start hanging out on the block, start smoking something or sniffing something or injecting something. And next thing you know, they're losing their family because they start with these erratic behaviors. Their mind is not the same anymore. Family says, "Yo, you got to go. Can't keep you here no more." They end up in a shelter. Then comes the good Samaritan auntie or uncle who have a place and say, "Come man, come stay with me. I me raise you from your little. Me not like see you looking like this. Shelter? Oh Jesus, me no want you living in no shelter, baby. Come stay with auntie." And that's what this auntie was. And they're telling this auntie, "Don't do it, auntie. This bigger than us. Let him stay in that shelter where he's at." But no one was listening to me, she said. Watson invited Gordon into her house where she lived with the other victims, the 11-year-old, the 12-year-old, and the other persons, in the hopes of helping him to put his life back together after he separated from his wife, lost his home, and lost his job. Now, let me tell you something about mental health and adult mental health. See, a lot of people out here think, right? This can't happen to me. That can't happen to me. Firm and strong. My mind steady. If you've been to school and you studied human psychology, normal and abnormal, you will know that it takes 3 catastrophic events back to back to chip your mind off completely. And you could end up in a state of psychosis, severe depression that leads to something even more serious, to where you need to be Baker acted or medicated. So when you see people going through their issues, never say that can't happen to me. He's just not strong enough. It's one thing to be losing your marriage. It's another thing when you lose your marriage, your job, your house, your family, your car, your everything in one go. Back to back to back to back. Yeah, some of us will say because your foot's not in them shoes right now, I could bounce back from that, man. Okay, but not everybody could, right? So it seems like this brother was going through a lot of issues. His auntie invited him to live with her, thinking she could save him, thinking she could help him put his life back together. He had separated from his wife. He lost his house. He lost his job. He lost his car. He lost his everything. She said, "My aunt took him in because she felt sorry for him." This is his sister talking, and she does not want to be identified to the public. And even the sister herself wouldn't take him in and is telling the aunt, "Don't take him in. Let him stay at the shelter. Something all right with him." She said, "Auntie, I don't take him in, auntie. My aunt took him in because she felt sorry for him, and I knew that this was going to end up being bad." Gordon, whom his sister described as suffering deeply, deeply from depression and mental illness, has been repeatedly hospitalized due to his deteriorating mental health. So this is not a surprise thing. This is something that was going on with him, that the family knew of, because he had been Like his sister said, he had been hospitalized repeatedly. He had slipped all the way into some deep depression and then mental illness. Here's another learning moment for you. If you have depression issues, you need to seek help as soon as possible because there are different levels of depression. In a nutshell, the start of depression, you will start to feel like, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. You end up starting to not feel like you want to do all the things that you normally did that brought meaning to your life. That's a big warning sign, right? And then if you don't address it, it gets deeper. Now it gets to the point where you are so far into a funk where you start feeling like it's better off I'm not here. I want to leave this earth. Maybe I should just go ahead and take my own life. And then at that point, obviously, if you don't get help, you're either going to end up committing suicide or homicide or something, right? Because you no longer care about living and about being here. The latter of this now, the third part, is where the powder keg explodes. This is where no prior can pray this off of you. Nobody can love you up and make this go away. This is where the person has gone too far. This is where you find individuals being Baker acted, put inside of an institution or hospitalized and medically treated. So beware of these things for people who are suffering from depression. Auntie tried to save him and it was not enough. His sister said he was suffering deeply, deeply. She used two deeplies from depression and mental illness and had been repeatedly hospitalized due to his deteriorating mental health. Now, the police have never been called to that address for domestic disturbances involving Gordon. One neighbor, a 24-year-old man who declined to give his name as well, he said he woke up to the sounds of gunshots. And about 45 minutes later, the police came knocking that there was a fire and that we need to go. We need to get out. He didn't see any past troubles at the victim's house. He said, quote unquote, I watched those kids grow up, man. The 11 and the 12-year-old, they've lived there their whole life. I watched them grow up. It's an open space. And this is a little community up this driveway. So all the kids would run and play and stuff like that, you know. I guess you can't even trust your family nowadays. That's wicked. Work, you turn on them like that. It's just evil. What was done? Jose Cruz, 50 years old, another person, said that he heard the gunshots while he was out walking his dog. I never seen anything like this. This neighborhood is quiet. I saw a fire from my balcony. I was in the back and front of the house. Then I saw the bodies. The names of the slain victims have not yet been released, and the killer was just one prior arrest for a strangulation domestic violence case in the Bronx, the cops said. He didn't have a long rap sheet. I think it's a domestic issue with his wife. He probably was chipping off in the head and starting to abuse his wife, so she ended up ending their relationship, and that's where police got him on one arrest for a strangulation issue. Strangled her, and that was that. The cops were interviewing the quick-thinking girl who called 911 at the 101st Precinct Station House. They may be able to shed some more light on what occurred, Kenny said. This is a sad, sad, sad situation. The stabbing victim took the homeless nephew into her Far Rockaway, Queens home prior to this deadly rampage, says the killer's sister. Wow. I don't even know what else to say. Check it. I'm going to stay close to this story. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. And again, be very, very careful of who you allow to stay inside of your house. I know some people have a good heart. You're trying to help a family member out. But if you see the red flags, do not ignore them. It's not your fault. Sometimes you just can't save everybody. Sometimes people are far beyond help. Not help that you can offer anyways. And don't let your soft heart get your life taken away from you. You know what I'm saying? Some people are going to call you selfish, but you have your big house and you have your 3-bedroom and your 2-bathroom. You're telling me you can't let your brother stay there. You're telling me you can't let your cousin stay there. Oh, you're so mean and so selfish. Don't fall victim, because that's exactly what happened to this auntie. And see there, all she wanted to do was love her nephew and help him put his life back on track, because she known him his whole life. And she ended up losing her life along with a bunch of other people in the house. Man, chip off. Kill everybody. And made sure that the police kill him too. That's called suicide by cop. I'll catch y'all on another video. As we update these stories, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time an update is done. Walk good. I'm out. Peace.